Hey everybody, it's Torrential Keen here. I am here to talk about the new pre-release for Attack of the Vine, the newest Lorcana set coming out this weekend in your local game store. I'm going to go through some tips and tricks on how to play it limited in Lorcana, and then a few archetypes and a few special ideas that I think there's cool little combos in the set that I really hope you guys open and are able to pull off. So I'll just give a quick overview of the new set. So Attack of the Vine is the newest Arcana set, and we've got some new franchises and IPs added to the set. So we have Up, Turning Red, and one of my favorites, Monsters Inc., joining our crew. So they're going to help us in the battle against Divine. And so you can see here from the website, there's a few Attack of the Vine and a few of the special characters we're going to see along the way. Um, we'll jump into limited next. So, first of all, I will say when you go to your local pre-release, you're going to get a pre-release pack, which is a box with 6 packs in it and one promo card. And so you open them and you can build a deck out of all your cards. So in limited, instead of like constructed, we are going to make a deck of 40 cards, and the restriction of having only 2 colors is scrapped. We can use any color in limited, and that's so all the way from amber to steel, and we can get everything in between. So it's pretty cool. We don't have any restrictions, and we can play as many cards of the same type as we open. So if we were to open 5 of the same card, very, very unlikely we could play all 5 of those cards, unlike in constructed formats, unless there's a card like the Dalmatians where they particularly said you could use more than the normal 4. So that is the basic rules of limited. I would always recommend you only play 40 cards, so you see all of those cards, or are more likely to see them than playing multiples. I like a lot more. You can always push it a little bit just to like get your cool new favorite cards in to test them out. That's the whole point of pre-release, is to see the new cards in play and in action and see which ones you want to play in the future. So when I look at this set, I look at the breakdown of the costs rather than the colors, because we can play all colors. So in this particular set, we have 207 new cards. It says 209 here. I don't know. It must be a repeat somewhere. We have quite a few one drops, over 31 drops. That's actually quite a large amount. We have over 45, nearly 52 drops. So we actually quite have quite an aggressive format if you look at the number of cards printed. And then we have just over 35 trees, and we've got over 40 fours, and we've got 25 fives, and then it goes lower and lower and lower because you're less likely to play very expensive cards in a limited format, because games usually end a lot quicker than in constructed or well, unless you're playing an aggro deck, but there's a lot less kind of cards to get card advantage or cards that replace themselves, which are like the things we're really, really going to try and look for and try and put into our decks. So, I've always said in Lorcana, the bread and butter of your format and when you're playing limited is actually your 3 to 5 drops. These are the most important cards in the set for you. So I'm going to just put on a filter here that has our 3 4s and 5s, and 3 4 and 5. Cool. So these are the cards that you want to play the most of in your deck. So your deck should be filled with 3 4s and 5s in your deck. So they're usually the most powerful cards. Well, not the most powerful cards in the set. That will be like the 6 and 7 drops, but you won't get to play them every game. So it's mostly great to look at these cards first and then move on. So all of these cards, the main thing you want is good stats. So a good stats, for example, is a 1 cost 2/2. That's a vanilla. A 2 cost 3/3. And then when you go into 3 4 5s, what you're really looking for is something that has higher willpower than it has attack or power, because you want them to be able to survive a hit but also deal some damage back. So I'll just take a quick example here of this rabbit. So Rabbit is a new card, and he's a honey type card, which is like a very cool little thing we're gonna look at later on. He's a bodyguard, 2/5, costs 4, quest for 1. When he ETBs, he also has an ability, or when he enters play, a gain 1 lore or a honey character gains +1 lore this turn. Very powerful in addition to other honey characters. But he looks like he's going to be able to take a hit and then deal damage back. So that's what we're going to look at. And we kind of want cards that have good survivability, because the lower cost cards, he should be able to trade for more than one, which is very powerful because a card is worth a lot in limited. Okay, we have some other cool cards here, so we'll look at this Gaston. Gaston is at 5 cost 3/4, so his stats are a little bit lower than you'd want for a 5 cost. Usually you'd want something with 5 or greater power, or at least 5 toughness. But he comes with a great interplay ability, which is to banish a character that has 5 or more power. There is not a huge amount of those characters in the set, but when it's relevant, it will be one of the most backbreaking abilities in the game. We'll go down here. My favorite card in the entire set is a 5 drop. He's a super rare, so you're not very likely to see him in your packs. But Sully, the new boss, he is a 5 cost 4/4 that is a bodyguard, but he has the ability to rehire. So when you play this character, you may return a character from your discard to your hand. It's purely just to get back to your best card that's been banished already, or a card that you've discarded that you want to get back. Character card, that is. Very powerful stuff. You can go through all these cards here, and there's some very cool, interesting 4s and 5s. So here's a great 4 drop. It's just a 4 cost 3/3 quest for 2 evasive, which is the most powerful mechanic in limited Lorcana. It's very hard to interact with without other evasive cards. There's a few good tricks in this particular set to try and give your characters alert, or give them evasive themselves to actually be able to challenge these characters, but we have to keep an eye on them. So we'll keep an eye out for a few of them. I have one in mind as well. Um, so the legendaries in this set, there's all very diverse. They're all from different kind of franchises, and all have very different abilities. This one, the Merida, she may enter play, and draw a card if she enters play exerted. There's very few other cards that enter play exerted other than some bodyguards in Amber, and there's a staff that allows your characters to become a bodyguard for 1 turn and enter exerted. So you can try and combo her with those cards, but it's very difficult to get off. But a 4 cost 3/3 that will replaces itself by drawing 1 card and has the ability to possibly draw more cards is a good card. We have a card here that's an item that I wouldn't be too impressed with, other than the fact that it may finish out games that are at a standstill where neither player is questing because they don't want their characters banished, and that is Source of Divine. It is an item 4 cost uninkable. Whenever an opposing character quests, you gain 1 lore unless they pay 1. So that will mean they won't be able to play characters and pay to be able to quest with their characters. And then while it's your turn, you can pay 2 and gain 1 lore every turn while you're at a standstill. So it's kind of interesting in limited. I'd like to see how it will work out. So I'm looking forward to maybe hopefully opening this card and trying it. A purple card that I want to shout out here is Hera. She is a Floodborn Queen deity. Viling. Viling is one of the new mechanics in the set, or they all give an extra ability to Floodborn characters. So Hera's one is on play. Whenever you play this character, another Floodborn character gain 1 lore. So mystical boon. So this is a great card. So she's a 5 cost 4/6. Very good stats. Quest for 1, not the best, but she gets 1 for free when you play her. And then every Floodborn after that you draw is already 1 lore before they actually quest. So I think this is very powerful. If you open multiple of these, I can see you winning and closing out games incredibly quickly. And you would want to play every Floodborn character you get. I think it's one of the best mechanics in this particular set. Move on. Um, we have some extra toys that we got in this set. So we have Woody up above and Buzz Lightyear. So Woody and Buzz, there is a new Shift Woody and Buzz, which is very cool. They can combine together in team up cards. But there is only 6 or one, two, three, four, five toys in the whole set. So the second ability on the Woody and Buzz, the uninkable ones, where they get a and they return a card from your discard. So the Buzz takes a cost two or less action, whereas the Woody takes a two cost or less character, and then you can play them for free if you control another toy. So it's very unlikely that you're actually going to control another toy. So don't rely on the second ability, but it's still very powerful because it can replace itself. Then we have another kind of franchise mechanic that's in this set, which is for the Rapunzel franchise. This Rapunzel is a four cost 3/3 quest for one. When you play this character, you may choose and discard a card. If you do, return chosen character to the player's hand. Very powerful mechanic to bounce your opponent's characters before they quest or before they challenge yours, and they have to replay to play them again the next turn. What is very interesting about the Rapunzel cards, they have some of their other cards in the franchise have when they are discarded, you may play them from the discard that turn by paying their cost. So I'll take a look at a Mother Gothel later on. She is a two cost uninkable 3/3 that says when she is discarded, you may pay her from the discard for her normal cost. So it's very good. It only works when at the time you discard them, though. Um, Scroll down here if there's a few other ones I want to speak about. Uh, so we have some new shift cards that are very interesting in the Turning Red franchise. So we have Sun Yi. She is a temporary shift. So temporary shift is a new mechanic where one of your smaller characters can shift into a big one, but it's only until the end of turn. So you can quest with them or challenge with them, and then at the end of turn, the card on top is returned back to your hand, so you can replay it at a later turn, or replay it the next turn and like shift again. But all the damage that is marked on that character is also removed, so that's very powerful. What I like about these cards is they are quite well statted on the face, especially Sunny. So as a five cost 5/5 quest for two, that's one of the best stats I think you can get in limited. So it's very hard to remove, quest for a good amount, and also can remove things as well. So it does everything quite well. So five cost 5/5s is like what you're aiming to try and get as many of them in your deck as possible. We can see here alert on this launch pad. So alert allows you to challenge evasive characters. This particular set doesn't have a huge amount of evasive characters, but if you are building a deck, make sure you have ways to interact with them. So alert and other evasive characters are what you're looking for, like this launch pad. Um, this is one of the new legendaries, Quackerjack. I will not be playing this in any of my decks. This card revolves purely around item cards, and we're not going to be playing very many items in limited because there is not a huge amount of items to play. This is much more of a constructed a card, and I would highly recommend not adding it to your deck because it's also a five cost uninkable and it has low stats and it only quests for two. Questing for two is good, but everything else about it is not great. So I wouldn't be playing a card like this in limited. That's purely revolves around items or locations for that matter. Okay, we'll move on. So just like Crackerjack, we have Doug. Doug is a three cost 3/2 who's understated, but he draws a card if you control an item, but you're very unlikely to control an item. So I maybe wouldn't be running Doug in my deck. We have a cool card here, I think, is this Robin Hood, which is another Vineling, but it gives itself alert. So it's a five cost 4/5 quest for two alert, but also gives all your other Floodborne characters alert. So that means when you play it, if you haven't controlled another Vineling or Floodborne, it can challenge that turn, which is very, very powerful. Then we have one of my all-time favorite cards in this set is a new Pluto. He's a five cost 4/4 quest tree support that is massive. So every time he quests, you can give something +4 power, and you'll be able to remove basically anything. You can trade your small one and two drops for their fours and fives, and then also gaining tree lore will definitely end the game quite quickly. So definitely highly recommend that card. Um, we see here we have a super rare Violet Power. This will be a very powerful card if you get it on board. It's 5 cost 4/4. It has resist 1. And then when you play it or uh, play this or another hero character, you can draw and discard so you can find the cards you're looking for and get rid of the cards you can't play out of your hand. We have a very powerful tree drop here in Omnidroid. So Omnidroid is a 4/3 that has +2 power while it's not damaged. So this is actually a tree cost 6/3. That is huge. So it can remove very powerful cards for a very cheap cost. So I would recommend cards like this in your deck. Move on. We have the new Flynn Rider. He's a 3 cost 3/2. Quest for 2. So overall good for something that can quest for 2. And he has another ability. Whenever an opponent chooses this character for an action or ability, they choose and discard a card. So this will only matter if they have cards in their hand, I think. But um, it's kind of like like an extra ward. Most likely he'll be challenged to be removed from the board, but still a very interesting new card, and I hope they print more cards like it in the future. We're going to look at this legendary here. Scar, what a legendary. He's another Vineling. I'm going to search the Vinelings in a few minutes and we'll go through all of them because I think they're very powerful and I think we should look at them in more in depth. Okay, let's go down. And then we have some of the dual color cards, not all of them. So we have Pocahontas. She's a 4 cost 2/3. Evasive. Her other ability revolves around one drops. And as we saw, there's quite a few one drops in the set. So maybe we might have a few to play with her, but I think as a 4 cost 2/3 evasive quest 2, she's already great. We have the new Marigal family, which is 2/8, and you can shift it on top of any Marigal character, or Madrigal character, I should say. And it allows you to ramp cards and also has a very high willpower, so it won't be banished very easily. Then we have one of the most powerful cards on the set, Lilo and Stitch. So it's a shift character. It's 3/5. It's quest 3, resist 1, and support. So just like the Pluto we looked at a few minutes ago, this card will end games incredibly quickly. And because of that resist 1, it will be incredibly difficult to remove off the board board as well. So highly recommend that card if you get lucky to open one. Aladdin and Genie is a 5 cost 3/3, so understated. Quest is for 2, but it draws at least one card, so always play this card. Cool. Then we have a very cool card for limited and for the honey archetype. So it's Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. They're honey cards. They're shift 3, so you can shift it on either a Winnie the Pooh or a Piglet. There's a 1 cost 2/2 Piglet that looks perfect to shift onto. This character gains +1 lower for each ink type of character you have in play. So straight away, this is a 5 cost 3/4 quest 2. Little bit understated, but if you shifted it on 3, very powerful to get out very early. But if you think about limited, because you can play all 6 characters or all 6 card types, like colors, you may have like a steel card, a ruby card, and an amber card in play, and then this character can quest for 5. It can even quest for 6. If anyone gets to do that, I would love to see it. So if you manage to get Winnie the Pooh, an emerald, a ruby, a steel, and an amber card on battlefield questing for 6, I can't see you losing that game, and I would love to see it. We'll move on. Then we have the Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, which is the best kind of explanation of the archetype that I was talking about when it comes to Rapunzel. So, once returned, they have Clever Swap. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card and then choose and discard a card during your turn. Whenever you discard a character, you may play that character from your discard. You do pay the costs, though, very important. 5 cost 4/4, quest for 2. Little bit understated, but still quite good because it can shift early. Okay, so that is the 3/4/5s. We'll also just take a look quickly at the other double color cards because these are the team up cards that can be shifted onto either character in a lot of cases. So we'll first look at the ones we what did we miss? We missed Sully, Woody, and Buzz. It's a 7 cost. The rest of these cards are very expensive. You don't want to have too many expensive cards in your deck in limited, but like one or two 7 drops is okay to have, especially if they're inkable. So we have Woody and Buzz. So hopefully you have Woodies and Buzzes in your deck. If you ever shift onto it, you can draw some extra cards. You can pay some cards for free, and it can quest for 3. So that will hopefully end games quickly. Now, Sully and Boo is a very powerful card. So you can shift this as a combo shift. So you pay for play this card on top of your characters named Sully, one character named Sully, one named Boo, or one of each. So it can go on Boos or Sullys or both together. When this character is banished, you may play the cards that are underneath them for free. So if you think about the 5 cost Sully that I spoke about earlier that gets one card back, I'll go quickly, just find them. If you are lucky enough to get these in combo, they are incredible because if you shift onto this bodyguard Sully that returns a character from your discard, when the big one is banished, you get the Sully back for free, which can take back the red and yellow Sully, the team up one, and you can just repeat that constantly, which is very powerful mechanic. So that's a neat little combo that you can use if you're lucky, because it's two super rares, very hard to find. Now we have Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. So this card will end games quite quickly. When this character is in play, all of your characters gain evasive. So that means they're very difficult to interact with, and they'll be able to just quest without being worried about being challenged as much. Next up is Christopher Robin. So Christopher Robin is another like honey card that is 2 colors, but this one's very important because it's a 6 drop 4/4 that lets you search for your best honey card in your deck. So if you had another Christopher Robin, it would find you another Christopher Robin, or it would find you that Winnie the Pooh and Piglet card. So it would be very good. It is a legendary though, so unlikely to find to have many of them. We have Maleficent and Diablo. This is a very expensive card. It's 7 costs, 6/5, shift 5 on top of a Diablo or a Maleficent. It does have a cool ability that if you have 5 cards in your character cards in your discard and you can put them onto the bottom, you can shift for free. If you manage to do that, you have a very powerful 6/5 that draws a card whenever it challenges or it quests or sings a song. It's just whenever it's exerted. Very cool, very powerful. We have the new Minnie and Mickey Mouse. This is a 7 cost 5/5 duo shift for 0, so that's very interesting. So if you have a Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse in play, you can shift for 0, and then if both characters are dry, you can quest for 5 straight away. Or if you manage to do it on 2 characters that one is a exerted and one is unexerted, it will always be the character that's on top. It's very interesting. There's some interesting rules around these cards going forward, but I hope they print more cards that are similar to this duo shift in the future. We also have, I skipped one, Carol and Carl Friedrichsen and Russell. So this is a 6 cost 6/6. This is just a very good card that you can play. It has, while this character is at a location, all characters at the location gain +1 lore and gain evasive, quest for 2. Even without having locations in your deck, this card is always good because it's a reasonable card to get to and put on the field, and questing for 2 is very powerful for a 6 cost 6/6. We will move on to Belle and Beast. This is an 8 cost uninkable shift 6. So if you cannot play this card in your deck unless you are playing Beasts and Bells, if you manage to play it, it has a very interesting card where mechanic where you can pay 6 and ready your characters. They can't quest for the rest of the turn, so you can completely protect your characters in play. And when this character quests, ready all of your inkwell. So very cool way to kind of use this card to protect all your other cards, but I'm not sure if we will be able to get much use out of it in limited, especially because it's an 8 cost uninkable. Now we have Dash and Violet. So Dash, Power, and Violet are very good because they're an 8 cost inkable. So you, if you can't play it, you can ink it, unlike the Beast and Bell. It is very hard to remove. It has evasive and resist one, 5 power, 5 willpower, and quests for 2. And then whenever it quests or challenges, draw a card for each card underneath it. So it's mostly that you need to play this card as a shift. You can combo shift, so it can be on a dash, it can be on a violet, or it can be on a combination of both. There is 4 in the set. There's one small dash, one small violet, one medium dash, and one medium violet. So very, very cool card if you can shift it. Then we have the final one, which is Darkwing Duck and Launchpad. 7 cost 5, 7 shift 5 on either one of the characters, Darkwing Duck or Launchpad. It's okay. It has Ward, that's a good mechanic. Can't be targeted for spell like unit abilities or actions. And during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character, gain 2 lore. So if you're challenging, you're gaining lore. If you're questioning, you're gaining lore. So very strong. I just when I was talking about Dash, I want to show you a very cool Dash card that's in the set that I quite like. This is Dash Power. He's a 5 cost 4/4 evasive, so he's straight away really powerful and hard to remove because he is bigger than most evasive characters in the set and he can't be challenged. He also has an ability for card advantage, so whenever he quests, you may show the top card of your deck by revealing it. If you do, you may play it, otherwise put it into your discard. Very cool. Okay, we'll move on quickly and just do one or two archetypes. I'm going to start with the Vinelings because I think they're very important. Vineling characteristic. So we have multiple Vinelings in the set across multiple colors, but they all do incredible abilities, and most of them are at slightly higher rarities. You can see there's a lot of rares in this particular characteristic and that one legendary. So we'll start with the Scar. So Scar says during your turn, whenever one of your Floodborn characters is banished, another character in challenge, you gain 1 lore. And then it also says during an opponent's turn, whenever one of your Floodborn characters is banished, draw a card. So every single Vineling character in this set is also a Floodborn. So this character works on both your turn and your opponent's turn. He's very reminiscent of the old Robin Hood, that when it was banished, it draws a card, and when it banishes a character, you gain 2 lore. So I quite like this, the fact that it affects all of your violent characters, and they all do. It's quite a what we would call a parasitic mechanic. So you can't print too many, or it'll be too powerful. So we spoke about Hera already, and Hera being one of the end game ending cards for this archetype. We have some other bread and butter cards like this Gaston. It's a 2 cost 2/2, but all your Floodborn characters gain +1. So he's a 2 cost 3/2. So he's better than the old Lumiere that we've had in the past. Then we'll move on and look at this Aladdin, which will let you find your other Floodborn characters. Whenever one of your Floodborn characters quests, you may draw, and if choose, discard a card. So he can find the other Floodborn, so you make sure you can have a board that you're looking for. We will also get to play like this one cost piece, which is a 1 cost 1/2, but all your Floodborn characters gain Challenger +1. So he challenges as a 1 cost 2/2, so very strong, along with all of the rest of the abilities. But overall, I really like this archetype. I think it's very fun. I think it's going to be very interesting in limited. You'll see a lot more because you can use all of the colors in the same deck. I think it'll be very good. This Mrs. Incredible, I don't think it'll be very powerful because they're not doing a crazy amount of shifting in the set, but it might be able to get you that like a Dash and Violet out very early, or the Bell if you have Bells and Beasts in your deck, sort of thing. Instead of paying 6, you might pay 5 or 4 by questing 2 Floodborn characters. So maybe it's playable, but it's still the least powerful one out of all of these. Now we're going to look at the Honey characters, and then we'll wrap up. So honey as a characteristic. We've got quite a few honey characters, similar number as the Vinelings. So we spoke about Christopher Robin as the main card in the set in the deck, and then we got the Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. We also have some other good honey cards that affect honey characters. So for example, Eeyore says when he quests, you may give +1 lore to another honey character to gain an extra lore, and gains ward as well, so it can be protected from removal. And so I quite like this sort of card. We also have this Winnie the Pooh. So Winnie the Pooh is a two cost 2/3 and a quest for one. But while you have two or more honey characters in play, you may quest for three. So if he quests for three more than once, I can see you winning that game incredibly quickly. We also have this very powerful card that can go in any deck, and it doesn't really matter that it's honey. It's Lumpy. He's a 5 cost 3/6 quest for two. When you play this character, you may move 2 damage from one of your characters to an opponent's character. One of the best cards in the set, especially at uncommon. I would expect that card to win many challenges and change many board states. So then the 1 cost 2/2 Piglet. Look at him. He's so cool. He's trying to be a wizard and sorcerer. He's just getting he's a bit scared. One of the cooler cards that I think can go in any deck that's not honey related as well is the magical honey staff, which is a 1 cost item, which is, I know I said there's not very many items I'll be playing, but this is definitely one. So once during your turn, you may pay one, give chosen character of yours the honey classification until the end of your next turn, until the start of your next turn. So something becomes honey, and then for two more and exert the honey staff, chosen honey character gains evasive until your next turn. So this is both offensive and defensive. For the cost of three, you can give one of your characters honey and evasive, and then you can challenge evasives or stop people challenging your character. So I can see this card being incredibly powerful. So watch out for this one. Um, Okay, guys, I think I am going to wrap it up there. There's a few other interesting cards coming out in this set, and I'd love to hear some opinions on it. So if you want to drop a comment down below and share with your friends, I'd love some feedback on the video and hope to see you again sometime soon. Thank you. Torrential out.